He told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully. That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement away from his co-stars and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it.
The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your successes. I love creating, and I think that as women, you're not often given authorship, yet women represent 85% of people making purchases in homes across all categories.
My oh my, Justin Baldoni's lawyers have now leaked the official footage of her alleged sexual harassment, and I now need this to go to trial. So the story goes, essentially, he says she didn't even read the book before signing on to the project. Then she read the book and kind of became consumed with it and wanted to basically introduce her own lines and wanted to become a part of the project and rework the script. So she submitted to him.
Words coming in from the celebrities at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary asking why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were even there. Also, Justin Baldoni's lawyer has some choice words about it all.
An executive producer signed up to be an executive producer, and that's it. As the time progressed in this film, she decided that she wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors. She wanted to be part of that team.
And that's part of the point that Justin's team is making in kind of complying with what they're viewing as threats made on her behalf against Justin is like, well, there's this financial consequence to everything in addition to the strike consequences too, right? So they filmed May to June, then shut down for the strike, and then they were down until January. But I think that the strike lifted in November, but then she had all these return to work provisions.
Everything seemed perfect until it wasn't. Blake Lively, once heralded as a genuine sweetheart of Hollywood, is now at the center of a colossal firestorm that shows no sign of slowing down. With rumors of betrayal, control, and hidden power plays leaking from every corner of the industry, her once glowing reputation has taken a drastic turn for the worse. And the one person benefiting from it all, Justin Baldoni, the very man she tried to undermine. How did Blake Lively go from America's beloved actress to Hollywood's most divisive figure? Let's uncover the startling truth that's left everyone in shock. For years, Blake Lively embodied the classic Hollywood golden girl. She had the enviable marriage to Ryan Reynolds, the picture-perfect family, and that charming, relatable public persona. Magazine covers appraised her down-to-earth style, fans swooned over her red carpet appearances, and the media fawned over her quick wit and photogenic smile. But behind those glowing headlines, rumblings of trouble began. Stage crews and insiders who'd worked alongside Blake whispered about moments that didn't match the sweet brand she projected. Early rumors about her micromanaging directors, butting heads with senior staff, or rewriting entire scenes without consulting the actual writers began to pop up on fan forums, social media, and scattered gossip articles. At first, nobody believed them. Surely it was all tabloid fodder. But as we've now learned, even the most pristine facades can develop cracks. And the strangest part, the earliest signs of tension stemmed from projects where Blake's official role was smaller than her actual influence. People couldn't figure out why everything from costume decisions to script notes had to run through her first. What everyone initially brushed off as commitment to detail was rumored to be something far more controlling. It was the first hint that the real Blake Lively might be far from the idealized Hollywood darling the public adored. Everything escalated when Blake signed on to star in It Ends With Us. It was supposed to be a surefire hit. There was hype around the story, a strong fan base from the source material, and huge marketing muscle behind it. Blake's presence alone was expected to draw massive crowds, but rumors soon surfaced that the set became a pressure cooker of behind-the-scenes conflicts. A wave of accusations began to spill out, costume designers feeling undermined, creative leads being replaced, and rumors of entire rewrite demands that blindsided the original writing team. Some whispered that Blake was rejecting direction from the actual director, ignoring production timelines, and making decisions that had nothing to do with her job as an actress or even an executive producer. Instead of collaborating, she was allegedly controlling and derailing. The production started feeling more like The Blake Lively Show than a cohesive film set. Suddenly, the buzz around It Ends With Us wasn't about the story or the cast's chemistry. It was about tension, drama, and a leading lady who seemed to think she owned the entire movie. Messages leaked online, hinting that co-stars felt pressured to side with her against the actual director. Anonymous crew members claimed that if they spoke out, their careers would be at risk because Blake had significant sway in Hollywood. If you cross her, you'd be blacklisted. Her sweet public image began to clash violently with these glimpses of backstage chaos. But it's all just rumors, her defenders said. Blake is an outspoken feminist. She wouldn't cause harm. But the rumors kept mounting, enough that people started to wonder whether the harmless chatter was actually built on truth. And soon enough, Justin Baldoni's name got thrown into the mix, revealing a conflict that would flip everything upside down. Justin Baldoni initially seemed like the odd man out. People heard he had disagreements with Blake over script directions, or that he was too friendly on set. Accusations that were suspiciously vague. At first, fans assumed Baldoni was the troublemaker, especially as buzz about his supposed inappropriate behavior spread online. Every whisper pinned him as the reason for tension on set. But then, quietly, Baldoni began releasing receipts, and that's when everything changed. Text messages, emails, timestamped notes. They painted a startlingly different picture of who was truly calling the shots. Baldoni also shared references to his Baha'i faith, suggesting cultural misunderstandings contributed to the friction. Instead of the malicious intent Blake implied, it seemed more like he was extending friendly gestures that got weaponized against him. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. Blake, who had grown comfortable as the so-called victim, was forced to explain why her version of events conveniently omitted crucial details and even entire chunks of conversation. People began to reevaluate everything. If Blake was twisting stories about Baldoni, what else was she hiding? From that point on, the tide rolled in fast. Viewers, fans, and even Hollywood insiders started paying closer attention to the details. Some realized Blake's initial accusations were wrapped in a suspicious cloak of Me Too sentiments, but lacked solid proof. Baldoni's calm demeanor and refusal to engage in name-calling only made him appear more credible. As the truth surfaced, it became clear that he was less of a predator and more of a scapegoat. Blake's attempts to bury him had backfired big time. Once the internet latches onto a controversy, it rarely lets go. Overnight, forums, blogs, and YouTube channels exploded with videos dissecting every single leak, tidbit, or slip-up. People questioned why Blake's story changed so frequently. Others pointed out how Ryan Reynolds' social media posts seemed suddenly forced, as if he were scrambling to pivot public attention elsewhere. Then came the cold, hard numbers. Daily, Blake's follower count started plunging by the tens of thousands. Some fans felt betrayed, insisting they had once adored her but could no longer support manipulative behavior. Others simply found the drama too off-putting. Meanwhile, Baldoni's account soared with new followers praising his transparency and unwavering composure. Almost overnight, he became a symbol of resilience against Hollywood politics. Amid the uproar, Blake tried a few desperate maneuvers. She posted cryptic messages about fighting the good fight and not letting bullies win. But these vague references to sexism or harassment suddenly looked hollow in the face of mounting evidence that contradicted her narrative. Influencers and big-name personalities who had once championed Blake started to distance themselves. Some even deleted tweets supporting her. It was as if the entire internet collectively decided to step away, leaving her to battle her own collapsing empire. And Ryan Reynolds, he attempted to crack jokes about the controversy on a high-profile television special, tossing out a quip like, "Great, why, what have you heard?" But that lighthearted approach grated on people who felt the accusations were too serious to be brushed off. The backlash turned on him too, sparking questions about whether his staunch support for Blake made him complicit in the manipulative claims. Their marriage, once considered hash couple goals, was suddenly under the internet's most unforgiving microscope. Hollywood is no stranger to scandals, yet it also has no patience for them when the bottom line is threatened. Executives, producers, and big-name directors watch controversies closely, calculating whether the drama is worth the risk of negative publicity. And in Blake's case, more and more industry power players began pulling away. Stories emerged about producers quietly shelving or delaying her upcoming projects. Apparently, no one wanted to gamble on a star whose behind-the-scenes conduct might overshadow an entire film or TV show. Agents whispered that collaborating with her could be career suicide, with some crew members refusing to join sets where she was attached. Even more telling was the eerie silence from some of Blake's closest Hollywood pals. Taylor Swift, known for publicly backing her friends, said nothing. Other co-stars who had once gushed over Blake in interviews stayed tight-lipped, declining to comment on the swirling controversy. Behind the scenes, people whispered about direct pressure from Blake's PR team, but not even the best PR spin could salvage the situation. The horror stories of controlling sets and manipulated narratives were too widespread to dismiss as mere rumor. Meanwhile, The Hollywood Reporter ran a cover piece that took aim at Blake's role in the meltdown. The cover showed her launching a slingshot at Baldoni, a pointed symbol of how she tried to take him down, only for it to ricochet back on her. She labeled the cartoon as sexist, but even that couldn't overshadow the specific details inside the article, which painted a damning picture of her manipulations. To longtime industry watchers, the meaning was clear. Blake Lively was losing her status, and it was happening fast. As negative press reached fever pitch, Blake's moves became increasingly erratic. First came the legal threats, amended lawsuits, new filings that doubled down on vague accusations, and attempts to scrub certain text messages from the public record. Observers wondered whether she truly believed the public wouldn't notice the glaring omissions. Legal analysts quickly jumped in to point out holes in her strategy. Without concrete evidence, her claims teetered on the edge of collapse. Her PR team appeared to be throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck. Some calls for a feminist stand were so forced they bordered on parody. Others tried to deflect attention back onto Baldoni, painting him as a novice filmmaker who misunderstood professional boundaries. But the more they pointed fingers, the more they exposed the truth behind Blake's attempts at controlling every aspect of production. Ryan, ever the supportive husband, tried to lighten the tension in interviews, but each time he cracked a joke or posted a witty remark, fans slammed him for glossing over serious allegations. Instead of saving Blake's image, his efforts only added fuel to the fire. People saw a desperate attempt to distract from damning evidence rather than any genuine resolution, and the rumor mill, it churned non-stop. There were whispers that Blake was privately furious at Ryan for mishandling public appearances, that she was turning on former allies who refused to back her story, and that she even considered stepping away from Hollywood altogether. Yet each rumor only fed the public fascination. If she wanted to bury the drama, she had unwittingly done the opposite. While Blake scrambled to salvage her reputation, Justin Baldoni looked remarkably calm. When asked for comment, he rarely offered more than a measured statement. No ranting, no insults, just a quiet conviction that the truth would eventually prevail. He spent his off hours in Hawaii, surfing and posting scenic shots that showcased a life seemingly free of the chaos that plagued Blake. The public loved it. In a world addicted to drama, Baldoni's serene approach felt refreshing. A wave of supporters, even those who'd previously doubted him, now championed him as the real victim. Suddenly, Justin's name was everywhere. Industry insiders revealed they were in talks to produce his next project. Directors who'd been wary of him based on Blake's initial claims began reaching out, curious about collaborating with someone who clearly knew how to handle a firestorm with composure. He didn't need to prove his innocence. The chaotic meltdown on Blake's end did all the talking for him. It was the ultimate irony. The more Blake fought to destroy Baldoni, the more she destroyed her own image. And with every social media post, every unconvincing PR push, she only underscored just how unbothered Baldoni truly was. If Blake had hoped to paint him as a menacing figure, the plan had spectacularly backfired. In the end, she was the only one looking like an aggressor. No one ever expected to see Blake Lively in this position. She had the Hollywood looks, the devoted fans, the perfect life with Ryan Reynolds. But somewhere along the way, that golden reputation cracked under the weight of backstage power plays and controlling impulses. She tried to bury Justin Baldoni, yet instead buried herself in wave after wave of incriminating evidence. The public is left wondering, can Blake Lively ever redeem herself after this avalanche of scandal? Is her reign as Hollywood's sweetheart over for good, or could a genuine apology, coupled with real change, turn the tide once again? And what does Justin Baldoni's rise tell us about the shifting dynamics in an industry long governed by hush-hush deals and image over honesty? In an age of social media and instant viral receipts, control control can slip away in a heartbeat. Blake Lively's downfall is a cautionary tale, warning everyone that no amount of fame, power, or perfect PR can protect you once the truth emerges. For now, the world watches as she stands on the brink of losing the Hollywood she once conquered, and unless she finds a way to rebuild trust, her former life of red carpet glamour and universal praise may be gone forever, while Justin Baldoni coasts into a brighter future, free from the accusations meant to silence him. That's the story behind one of the most talked about showdowns in Hollywood right now. Where do you stand? Is there any path to redemption for Blake, or has the final verdict already been written? One thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. Stay tuned, because in Hollywood, every downfall carries the seeds of yet another twist. Remember to hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the controversies shaking Tinseltown. After all, in a place built on stories, sometimes reality is the most shocking script of all.